Hi, thanks for joining me on the Listen Up Girl podcast. I am your host, Zach Randall Friedman. Today is Thursday, July 16th, and I have a ton of LGBTQ plus news, so let's get right into it. First story is the orange convicted felon backs off trans healthcare ban. So let's start off with some genuinely good news, and I don't say that lightly. The orange convicted felon has backed off his attempt to nationally ban hospitals from providing gender affirming care to transgender patients. This is being called a significant victory for both trans rights advocates and mainstream medical associations who've consistently said that this care is medically necessary, evidence-based, and life-saving. Now, let's be clear. We are not popping the champagne. This administration doesn't retreat out of kindness. They retreat when they think they're going to lose in court. And that tells you something. It tells you that the legal and medical groundwork laid by advocates is actually working. And the fight isn't over, but today, this is a win, and we're going to take it. Next, we go to Megan Rapinoe on trans sports bans. Now, from the world of sports, Megan Rapinoe is speaking out, and she is not holding back. Rapinoe is warning that trans sports bans don't just hurt trans girls, they hurt all girls. And she's calling that outcome a feature, not a bug, of these laws. In other words, she's saying out loud what a lot of us have suspected. This was never really about fairness in athletes. It's about policing gender. It's about control. And Rapinoe also revealed something personal and infuriating. She was fired from a commercial after a brand's AI software flagged her trans advocacy as a reputational risk. So let me repeat that. An AI decided her allyship was too dangerous for the brand deal. We are now living in a world where algorithms punish you for standing up for human rights. That should alarm every single one of us, queer or not. Our next story is Library Board moves 100 plus books with help from hate group. The next story is about books, and it's not okay. A library board has relocated more than 100 books without any formal review process after taking counsel from an anti-LGBTQ plus hate group. No public comment, no board review, just gone, moved, restricted. Free speech organizations are now sounding the alarm. This is a quiet creep of censorship that doesn't make national news, but it's already happening in dozens of communities. A hate group doesn't show up with a bonfire. They show up at a board meeting with talking points. And if no one's paying attention, books start to disappear. Today, it's a library in one town. Tomorrow, it's a curriculum. Let's not look away from this one, and I'll keep bringing you stories about this as they develop. Our next story is about J.K. Rowling pushes anti-trans groups to sue Amnesty International. So speaking of people who don't know when to stop, J.K. Rowling is now encouraging anti-trans groups to sue International after human rights organizations label them as anti-rights groups. And here's the twist. Amnesty International has already retracted the report, saying it was published prematurely. But this is not enough for Rowling. So let's think about this. A major human rights organization made a mistake, acknowledged it, and pulled a report. Most people would call that accountability. J.K. Rowling is calling it an opportunity to litigate. And at this point, her entire public identity has become a crusade against trans people. And the saddest part is that a woman who once wrote a story about standing up to powerful bullies has become one. The irony writes itself. Our next story is two brothers charged in gay man's murder 40 years later. Now, a story that was equal parts heartbreaking and historic. Two brothers who for decades bragged about killing a gay man and finally facing justice 40 years later after the crime. And here is the detail that stops you cold. It was their younger brother, who was just 10 years old at the time of killing, who eventually turned them in. Think about what a gay man carried for 40 years, a child who witnessed or learned of a murder committed by his own family, lived with that, and ultimately chose to do the right thing decades later. This is what justice looks like. It's not enough. It's never enough. But the family and friends of the victim today, that is something. And the courage it took for that younger brother to come forward, that is not a small thing. Next, gay couple gave 180,000 backpacks to homeless people, dies within days of each other. And we are going to end the day with something that will remind you why love is worth everything. A gay couple who spent years giving 180,000 backpacks to homeless people has died within days of each other. 180,000 backpacks. Just stop and sit with that for a second. Those who knew them said their relationship was built on deep love and a shared belief that every person deserves dignity, compassion, and hope. That was their life's work. Not fame, not fortune. Dignity, compassion, and hope for people that most of society has decided not to see. They went together as even at the end, one couldn't be without the other. That is love. That is legacy. And that is what it looks like to build a life that matters. So rest in peace, and you did it right. So that is today's Listen Up Girl podcast. If this show means something to you, please take 30 seconds and follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. It makes a real difference in helping more people find us. And if you're listening for a while and haven't left a review yet, today's the day. 5 stars and a few words goes a long way. Share today's episode with someone who needs to hear it, and follow me on Instagram at TheRealZachRE. And I'll see you tomorrow with more LGBTQ plus news. Thanks for listening.